All right. This next one is the one that gets people tripped up the most. I probably see the most mistakes, and that is head of household, right? A lot of people fill out my intake form and they mark that they're head of household and they are a single person, and they think head of household just means you pay the bills of your household. I wish that were the case, but that is not what it means for tax purposes, okay? For tax purposes, it says that you are not married or considered unmarried, which we will talk about in a second. You pay more than half the cost of keeping up a home for yourself and for a qualifying dependent that live with you for more than half of the year, okay? So you have to have a dependent to use head of household, okay? And so there's two tiers to this. The first one is if you're not married at all. So you've never been married or you're divorced or whatever, and you have a dependent. In that case, the dependents that would qualify you for head of household need to be related to you by blood. In the IRS code, when you read it, it says brother, sister, mother, descendant, all this other stuff. Just think blood. Okay, blood relative, not cousins though, because you know how it goes. If we use cousins, we all would be claiming our third cousin twice removed on our mama's cousin's sister side, right? That's what we'd be doing. We don't want to do that. But blood, so sister, brother, niece, nephew, all of those things work, right? But there's some things with them. They got to be under 19 or under 24 if they're a full-time student. If they are disabled, they could be at any age, okay? And you have to provide more than half of their support, and they had to live with you for more than half the year. Now, your parents can work for that, and they're the one caveat that doesn't have to live with you, because your parent might be in their own home, but you're still got to be providing the care of that home. So you got to be paying mom's bills and doing all the stuff to take care of her, okay? That's if you've not been married, and then you can use head of household, okay? You're not married. Now, what does considered unmarried mean? How can you be considered unmarried? Because you said, Toya, a second ago that either we're married or we're not married, right? So the IRS understands that life happens, right? So sometimes you're still married to somebody and they left, right? They ran away with Susie the neighbor, right? And you don't know where they are. And you're taking care of your kids, you're paying all your bills, you hustling, right? Should you be penalized and not be able to get the credits, have to file married, filing separately, all the things because he ran off or she ran off? No. So that's where this considered unmarried comes in. But there are very strict, specific rules for this, okay? First thing is that you and whoever that person was could not have been living in the house with each other the last 6 months of the year. So you had to be at least split up the last 6 months of the year. If you've been split up multiple years, that's fine. But he could not have been in that house, or she could not have been in that house for the last 6 months of the year, okay? And then the only dependents that you can use if you are technically married is your child, stepchild, or foster child. That's it. No parents, no niece, no nephew, no none of that. If you are still technically married, okay? So you have to make sure that you understand these head of household rules. Why is this important? Well, because it affects your, again, tax bracket, deductions, credits, and refunds. And we want to make sure that we're not causing delays. They're holding everybody's money, right? Because of the PATH Act until March or so, they're saying they're going to start releasing money. So we don't want to give them any other reasons to hold ours because we've done our filing statuses wrong, right? So it's very important to get that right. The last few minutes, I want to take a few seconds to talk about some common mistakes I see a lot with filing taxes that around filing status. So one of the main things I see is married people filing single and head of household. Like, let's split our kids, right? We're married, but I'm going to file head of household and you file single. Or both of them claim head of household. Based on what we've learned tonight, guys, that is a mistake. That is wrong. Okay, we're not supposed to be doing that. The other thing I see is divorced or separated parents who maybe have a divorce decree that they alternate every other year, but the kid actually only lives with one parent. That gets messed up a lot on who's supposed to get head of household, who can claim the credits. We see that get mixed up a lot. And then the last one is people claiming married filing separately instead of head of household that could qualify for head of household, and they miss out on the credits for the kids. Okay. One thing I want to know is one of the main reasons why I see people come in and they're married and they say, "Hey, Toya, we're filing married filing separately." When I ask that question and I say, "Well, why?" They say, "Well, because he owes child support or she has student loan debt." You can still get your refunds, right? There's a thing called injured spouse, right, that we can put on the tax return that says, "I'm injured because of this person's debt. So don't take my part of the refund because of their debt." It can be done. So that's why, it's important to be honest with your tax preparer about your whole situation and what's going on so we can tell you what all your options are. But also to make sure, again, we're doing things correctly. So you don't leave money on the table, but you don't also cause the IRS to be all in your business and maybe not get the credits that you are supposed to get. So I hope you guys learned something tonight from this about your filing statuses. I'm going to try to do one on dependency next because that kind of ties with this and people claim the wrong people. So if that's something you guys would want to hear, let me know. Tonight, if you want more information or you need some help with your taxes, you can DM the word tax to me in my inbox. As always, you can call or text us at 502-264-8863. I'm going to check real quick and make sure there were no questions because I know that this is a topic that a lot of questions about. No. All right, so we're good to go. Everybody have a lovely Friday and a great weekend. See you guys next week.